How do you talk to your body? Talk to her nice. She's a portal. We have a portal between our legs. Do you understand the sacredness of that? Do you understand the sacredness of your divine feminine energy? It's been a week. How y'all doing? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ada Rojas. If you're new here, make sure that you subscribe before you leave. I create content around business, spirituality, and wellness. And every week I love creating these energy readings. Whether you have a business or not, I just hope that these are helpful to you. And I love connecting with y'all on a weekly basis. I needed like a few days to get myself together because hi Rico, we're here. Let's stay there. Sit down and stay. Oh. So like I was saying, I needed a few days to just kind of like recenter, come into my body, reset my home from traveling yet again. And also that eclipse in Taurus was crazy. I don't know how you guys are doing, but I'm just recovering. I'm just coming out of all of it. Also, I didn't anticipate how exhausted I was gonna be from getting off of Instagram. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but last month I got an intuitive hit that I need to get off Instagram for a while. And for those of you that don't know, Instagram is my biggest platform where I have my largest following. So I was like, okay, got it. And so before I left, I wanted to share a video giving my community a little bit more background on how I got to that decision, and also so that people like wouldn't be worried, because the last time I took a break from Instagram, I was getting emails from people like, are you okay? I'm worried about you. I haven't seen you online. So I wanted to like formally share that I was going to be gone for a while so that people wouldn't worry. And so if you're curious as to why I decided to get off Instagram and kind of like just all of the thoughts that I had behind that, I will include a link to the post that I shared on Instagram so that you guys can watch it. But no worries about YouTube. I will still be on here creating my weekly videos. And if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, make sure that you subscribe to my newsletter, because as you guys know, even though I won't be on Instagram actively, it's always something. Everything is always intentional. And I know that my spirit guides are asking me to pull back my energy from that platform so I can send it somewhere else. So just know that I've already been sitting with different things, and one of the things that has been coming up for me for sure is this need for us to gather in community. So if you are in the New York area, definitely sign up to my newsletter, because I will be sharing more information about the possibility of us coming together in community soon. So check out my newsletter. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started, because y'all know I could talk forever. And I don't want to keep you waiting any longer, because this video is already dropping later in the week. So the deck that I'm going to be using this week is the Divine Feminine Oracle deck by Meggan Watterson. And this is the only deck that I have by Meggan Watterson, and I really like her style. So I am considering adding more of her decks into my collection. I really enjoy this deck, and I hope that you all enjoy it too from the cards that I will be pulling. As always, take this time to center yourself, to gather your energy. 2 cards just flew out. Ground and center yourself, to ask yourself, what is it that you would like to get clarity on this week? And be open to the way that you will receive that message, even if it's not through this video. Be open to the way that will be answered for you throughout the rest of the week. And if I can give you any advice or any tips on how to really work with your intuition is you need to get really good at asking good questions. Make sure that they're open-ended, but be more specific about your questions. Just to give you a little background on this deck, obviously it's a Divine Feminine Oracle deck, so all of the messaging and all of the guidance is going to come from a very divine feminine place, which I really love and I appreciate. Okay, the first card that we pull is this gorgeous woman. Her name is Rabia, and it says she is the Queen of Saintly Woman, and below the card it says, I am in service of divine love. I move the way love asks me to move. Who she is. Rabia, and I hope I'm saying her name right. Rabia? Might be Rabia. Rabia represents a rare, pure love that doesn't seek anything other than simply to love. Rabia al-Adawiya was one of the most influential Sufi women in Islamic history. She is a Muslim saint and a Sufi mystic who lived in the 8th century in Basra, present-day Iraq. On the night she was born, her father had a vision of Muhammad. He told him, your newly born daughter is a favorite of the Lord and shall lead many Muslims to the right path. When Rabia was just a little girl, When Rabia was just a little girl, her father died and she was then sold into slavery. She would pray every night to be released so that she could spend the hours of her day in service of Allah, the Arabic word for God. When her master overheard her prayers and saw that she was illuminated with light as she prayed, he realized she was a saint. He released her immediately. She went into the desert and worshipped in solitude. Rabia became known as the Queen of Saintly Women because of the purity of her love and devotion to Allah. She set forth the doctrine of divine love known as Ishike Hakeki. Her poetry emphasizes her desire to worship for the sake of loving Allah and not for personal gain. In one of her poems, she says, I carry a torch in one hand and a bucket of water in the other. She wants to set fire to heaven and put out the fires of hell, so that love seeks no gain except to be in service of love itself. She explains, I do not want to worship from fear or punishment or for the promise of reward, but simply for the love of Allah. When your soul selects her card, in her lifetime, Rabia embodied a freedom that divine love offers us. If we see her life as a metaphor of the soul's progression, she went from slavery to sainthood by devoting herself to Allah. Her only concern was the love that she could give to God. Her every action was motivated by her devotion to God, and through it she received the greatest spiritual gift, self-realization. Although it can be very difficult, loving without expectations is a profound spiritual practice. More often, our love for someone is loaded with ideas of who that person needs to be for us. But divine love is unconditional. It's a love that seeks only to love. No hidden agendas, no strings attached. Rabia relates in one of her poems, prayer should bring us to an altar where no walls or names exist. Each time we are able to love someone or ourselves without conditions to that love, we arrive at this altar within us. We free them and ourselves. We remember what Rabia knew so well, that to love just for the sake of loving lets the divine act through us. Soul Voice meditation. Are my current actions motivated by love? Intention. I am in service of divine love. I move the way love asks me to move. Man, this card really hit me right here because yesterday I was soaking in a bath and I just felt so moved by spirit, by my ancestors. And I was just in deep gratitude for my life. And even though it's not perfect, again, I always just try to find something to be grateful for. One of the things that really came over me in that moment is that, like, I am ready to be a vessel of love. I want to activate more people. I want people to feel the presence of love when they're in my presence. I want to be a vessel of divinity. I want to be a vessel of miracles. I really want to emanate that energy within myself, and I want to always feel like divine, but then when I'm around other people, I also want people to feel that and have almost like these moments of like, wow, like life is beautiful, God is beautiful, like, and we all are that. And I read this beautiful quote earlier this week that it's like something along the lines of how we are all portals to God. Like, we are all God. God lives within us, and for us to access him, like, we do that through each other. And I was like, that's so beautiful. I want to be a portal to God. I want to be a portal to love. I want to be a portal to the divine. So seeing this card, that message is just like landing even deeper. And I love this meditation of, are my current actions motivated by love? And I feel like that's something for us to really sit with, not just for today, but for the week, for the month. And start to look at every area of your life, start to look at every area of your business, and ask yourself, are my current actions motivated by love? And if they are not, how can you make your way back to love? That's such a beautiful card. Like, I just feel my heart emanating right now. And I feel like now more than ever, humanity needs that. There's so much going on, and for those of us who can see, and for those of us who are light workers, this is the times that we signed up for. This is exactly what we came here to do. To be love, to be light, to activate other people to remember the divinity within them. Whether that be through your life, through the businesses that you have birthed. And it's so needed. It is so needed right now for all of us to be vessels of love. And deeply understand that in order to be that, you need to be able to sit in your shadows. You need to be able to sit with the parts of you that you don't feel are worthy of your own love. And there's also this energy of like devotion coming up, of like, it is not enough for you to just like do spiritual. Like, tapping, going deeper with it, you need to be in devotion. And I always talk about this, like the difference between discipline and devotion. When you look up the definition of discipline, it's like the action of doing something because you were disobedient. So it's this like force, and it's like, oh, because you did this bad thing, now you have to do this. And devotion is rooted in love. How did you get in here? Devotion is rooted in love. And it's time for us to be devoted to love. And not because, oh, there's a war going on, and if we want to change that, we have to, like, or you know, we're seeing the repercussions of us not acting in a loving way reflected in the world. And so because we've been disobedient, now we're being punished. And now we need to tap into love and spirituality and higher consciousness because of the disobedience. And it's like, no, like, if you're gonna tap in from love, from devotion, and not from discipline. This is the next card that we have pulled for this reading. And it's Yeshe Tsogal, Lady of the Lotus Born. Embodiment is the deepest bliss. My body was made for enlightenment. Ooh, okay. So these two cards literally flew out the deck when I was shuffling them, and I love that because clearly they go hand in hand. So this idea of being in service to divine love and move the way that love asks you to move, But it's not just an idea. It's not just in the mind. It's not just like a mantra, a belief, a way of life. It's like it has to be embodied so that it could truly be a way of life. And I feel like we do so much work to heal, to work through our traumas, to identify our shadows, to clear the lineage. You already know. But how much of that information is just up here? How much of it is in the mind? How many books have you read on healing? How many other people do you follow online that talk about this work? How many YouTube videos do you watch weekly so that you can heal? Are you taking time to embody that information? Are you creating space for that information to land? Like me getting off of Instagram is me calling my energy back and creating space for more information to land. And a lot of people are probably thinking, well, if this is your biggest platform and you know that your medicine is needed, you know that your community needs you in this moment, why would you pull back from this space when your community needs you right now? And it's like, I am pulling back because my community needs me right now. And I need to fill my cup so that then I can go pour to my community in real life. In real life, because in this moment, online is not enough. We need to come together in person. We need to emanate our love in the same room. And so this idea of embodiment being the deepest bliss and knowing that your body was made for enlightenment and really understanding the Lady of the Lotus born, when you think of the lotus is like the only plant that grows in mud, right? So you think of something like dark mud, you know, nasty, like, oh, I need to wash my hands because I have mud all over them. And then you think of how beautiful the lotus flower is, and that the lotus is a symbol of enlightenment, right? All the petals on this beautiful flower, and how that grows in the mud, and how we grow through adversity, we grow through our struggles, we grow in the dark, like this beautiful balance of the light and the dark and your shadows and your consciousness. And I really feel like the message with this card is that it is important for us not to leave our bodies behind. There's like a epidemic happening right now where people are only intellectualizing their healing, okay? You have to give that information space to land in the body. You have to sit with things for a bit. You need to let time go by. Stop reading the book to just get to the next book. Sit with the information in that book. Let things land in your body before you're running to the next thing. Give yourself time and space and room to embody the wisdom that is coming to you. Who she is, Yeshe Sogal represents a deep wisdom that has been much misunderstood. She is the ultimate spiritual wisdom that the human body is all that is needed for enlightenment. Yeshe was born a princess in Tibet in 777. According to legends, she was born in the same way as the Buddha. A mantra resounded, and her mother gave birth to Yeshe painlessly. Her name means Wisdom Lake Queen because at the moment of her birth, a nearby lake doubled in size, symbolizing her tremendous wisdom, her waters of enlightenment. From a young age, Yeshe only wanted to practice the Dharma instead of getting married. But the emperor of Tibet gave her to Parasamava, who had traveled to Tibet from India to spread the Buddha's teachings. He became her main consort and husband, and together they each founded their own lineages of Buddhist teachings. She spent many years isolated in meditation and accomplished several cycles of tantric spiritual practices. She received esoteric initiations and became known as a fully enlightened Buddha in the form of an ordinary woman. She is also considered to be an incarnation of Vajrayogini, and her husband predicted that she would reincarnate as the legendary Tibetan Buddhist tantric teacher and yogini Machig Labradon. When your soul selects her card, it can be so easy to forget that everything we touch, everything we say, and everything we do is not separate from the divine. Yesha embodied one of the most potent spiritual truths. The female body is an asset to enlightenment, not a hindrance. The body is a vehicle to free us from the idea that there are any limitations to reality. Tantra, which weaves together the sacred and the mundane to reveal the spiritual nature of all things, allowed Yesha to realize that she was both an ordinary woman and an incarnation of the Buddha Vajrayogini. The names in here, I apologize if I'm butchering them. We're both human and divine. We're both a mortal body and an eternal essence that continues on. The body too often can be the scapegoat for so much hate, distrust, and violence. The body holds infinite wisdom, pleasure, and possibilities. This is the moment to see your gorgeous body as the tremendous gift that it is. It's the moment to realize that there is no greater intoxication than just being fully in your body from head to soul. Yesha is the call to remember the holiness of your flesh, the deep wisdom your body contains, and the temple you walk around in every day. Soul voice meditation. What helps me remember that my body is sacred? And your intention is embodiment is the deepest bliss. My body was made for enlightenment. So how are you honoring your body? How are you honoring the wisdom, the technology that you were born with? We spend most of our time focusing on our soul and mind, and we forget about the body. And remember, that's a trifecta, mind, body, and soul. Don't forget about the body. How do you talk to your body? Talk to her nice. She's a portal. We have a portal between our legs. Do you understand the sacredness of that? Do you understand the sacredness of your divine feminine energy? It's not too late to remember. It's not too late to remember. And the last card in this deck pool is Laula. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And she is a saint of spoken words. Every word I say becomes a prayer. I am the author of my own story, and I feel like the energy behind this card is the power that you hold in your throat chakra, the power that you hold in your ability to change your reality, to really be the author of your own story. And a huge reminder that we are not helpless, we are not victims, we always have a choice, even when those choices may not always be in alignment with what you want in that moment. The fact that you have a choice is so powerful. And sometimes we feel powerless because our choices are just not what we want in that moment. But again, like, you have a choice. You have a choice. And even acknowledging that will pull you out of the low frequency and energy that you exist in when you are feeding into I am a victim. Life is unfair. Why is this happening to me? At any moment, you can choose to take your power from people, places, things, corporations, any environment that has made you feel powerless, that has made you feel like a victim, and you can rewrite your own story. Who she is. Laula embodies the potency and power of her words to create her own reality. Laula Laudid, or Lashewari, was a Kashmiri mystic and poet who lived in the 14th century. She was married at the age of 12 but was extremely unhappy as a wife. She left her home at age 24 to take sannyasi, renunciation. She became a Shaivite, a devotee of Shiva. Lala walked the streets naked, dancing and reciting her love poems to the divine. She wore only the markings of her devotions to Shiva on her forehead. Lala is the creator of a mystical form of poetry called Vox, which means speech or voice. The verses of poetry that she spoke are considered the earliest compositions in the Kashmiri language. Her words reflect the spiritual truth of non-duality that she realized as a mystic. Above, temple, and below, idol are one. Above and below are one. With her poetry, she found the unity in all things and the freedom that follows. I, Lala, entered through the door of the garden of my mind and saw Shiva and Shakti united into one. Oh joy! There I became immersed in the lake of nectar and died even while I was still alive. What can death do to me now? The Kashmiri language is filled with her sayings. She is known as a prophetess, a saint, even an avatar. Although illiterate, she used the inherent power of her every word to transcend duality and enter a state of blissful union with the divine. When your soul selects her card, words have the power to shift our reality or continue to reinforce it. Louise Hay, founder of Hay House, turned to me during a dinner party, looked me right in the eyes, and declared, "Every word you say is an affirmation." My ears are ringing. This is perhaps one of the most crucial spiritual lessons to remember. If we are not separate from the soul, and if the soul is not separate from the divine, then we have the power to co-create our life. Lala is the invention to pay close attention to each word we say ourselves within, and to the words we say about ourselves to the people we love. She is the acknowledgement from the soul that every sentence is a prayer. If we want more love, more light, more of that joy and freedom that expands our capacity to be present in the world, then Lala reminds us that we can become the author of our own reality right now. We can speak our desires into being right now. Lala is a reminder that we are so powerful that changing the words we use to describe ourselves can change the trajectory of our lives. We can choose to focus our attention on each I am statement we say, and we can infuse our lives with the nectar that comes when we act on the truth that we are not separate from the divine. Soul voice meditation. What are the most powerful words for me to use frequently right now? And remember, your intention is every word I say becomes a prayer. I am the author of my own story. So what are you saying about yourself to yourself? What are you saying about yourself to other people? What truths have you not claimed about yourself because you think that you may not have the resources, that you're not capable? What have you been running away from owning in your life? For me, one of the things that has come up this past week is, why don't I see myself as the community leader that my community sees me as? And how have I been running from that because I don't believe myself to be a community leader? And I'm owning that, I'm accepting that, I'm speaking that of myself moving forward. I'm not entertaining the thoughts and ideas that want to tell me that I am not that. I'm only shining a light on the parts of myself that have struggled with seeing myself in the same light that my community sees me. Because there's work here for me to do. There's people here for me to activate, and I cannot do that if I am not acknowledging myself to myself, if I am not acknowledging my love, my light, my divinity, and if I'm backing down from who and what God has called me to be. So, what you say about yourself matters. What you think about yourself matters. And in this very moment, there's an opportunity for you to speak life over your life and to change the trajectory of your life by owning your words and owning the power that comes when you speak. To run back the beautiful messages from the divine feminine that we received today. I am in service of divine love. I move the way love asks me to move. Embodiment is the deepest bliss. My body was made for enlightenment. Every word I say becomes a prayer. I am the author of my own story. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading and the beautiful message and energy that comes with this divine feminine oracle deck. Do you guys see why I just love this deck so much? I will see you in my next video, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscription button and make sure that you sign up to my newsletter to stay up to date on all things Ada. Bye.